Let's talk about Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles obviously was the defensive coordinator for the Buckeyes, just won the national championship. Now he's going to be the defensive coordinator at Penn State after Tom Allen left to go be the DC at Clemson. Sounds like he's going to make $9.3 million over 3 years. So 3.1 a year, going to be the highest paid the highest paid coordinator in college football. Sounds like the Buckeyes were ready to make him the highest paid coordinator as well, even though it doesn't sound like it was a direct match in terms of salary. And even with all his bonuses that he got from this national championship, he was up close to $3 million this past year. But my statement is Jim Knowles leaving the Buckeyes is a mistake. Punt or go?
Oh, I'm going on this. What are you doing? You don't leave a made bed when you're staying in the King's Chambers to go hang out with the nobles walking around the village. No offense to Penn State, but Ohio State is the top dog right now, right? We can say what you want about Michigan, but Michigan's had their fair share of success against Penn State. I know it didn't work out or they didn't play this past season, but if the money was even close, which I think it could have been, the only way that you make this jump is if something happened that was personal. There's a report out there that Jim Knowles wasn't allowed to go to the Ohio State National Championship celebration while he was negotiating his contract. All right, it's either that or he didn't like the way that the coaches were treated at Ohio State when it was going bad. Because this move makes no sense to me. And you just won the national championship. Your defense played their guts out. You could have an okay next year and get away with it. But now you go to Penn State, who's still, you want to talk about climbing the mountain, you want to talk about the Bills. Yeah. I don't trust Penn State to beat Ohio State or win the big one when it matters. Now even more pressure's on you because you go to Columbus next year if I'm looking at mistaken. And if they hang a crooked number up on you, that's going to make it even worse. Jim Knowles, it had to be personal. That's the only way, because if the money was even close, you're already rich. You do not leave Ohio State that, spends $20 million on a roster. I think he's 13 flavors of nuts, in my opinion.
They do go to Columbus next year, November 1st. This was a mistake for Jim Knowles. Punt or go?
Jake, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I actually agree with you when it comes to this. Nothing about this move makes sense to me. It really doesn't. And it kind of goes back to the Tom Allen thing from Penn State to Clemson. You went to a team that's lesser than what you are. And I don't want to hear about the money thing. Ohio State already came out and said they would either match or go above whatever Penn State's paying you. You're paying $20 million for your roster. I'm pretty sure you have enough money to pay a coordinator. But, I saw reports that I'm pretty sure I know what this is about. Ryan Day, after that Oregon game, after they gave up all those points and lost against Oregon, came in and started to help in the defense. All right? And that guy didn't like that. Jim Knowles didn't like that.
Personal.
He got butt hurt. His ego got hurt. And he decided, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to coach this defense. This is my defense. And I don't want anybody touching it. So I'm going to take my ball and I'm going to go to Penn State. That's the only reason why you would see this move. It's not for money. It's not for players. It's not for the logo of the school. Because where you're at right now is better than where you're going. The only reason you would see a move like this is a personal reason. And that personal reason is that Ryan Day started helping with the defense after Oregon slashed them for 4 quarters. And Jim Knowles couldn't take it. So that's why he went to Penn State.
Well, Jim Knowles just orchestrated one of the top defenses in the country and really for the last couple seasons. So what is Ryan Day going to come into the room and say in terms of like helping the defense be better than what Jim Knowles was going to make him?
Well, but look, at the end of the day, he's the head coach, man. Like, even if he came in there and said something, he's the head coach. And that's fine. You don't like it? Well, that's just part of it. You signed up to work for him. Why don't you go be a head coach somewhere? Don't take another coordinator job. Why don't you go be a head coach? And I got all the respect in the world for Penn State. Incredible university when it comes down to success athletically. But this ain't a lateral move. You may be in the same conference, but this ain't a lateral move. You may have been in the playoff with them, but this isn't a lateral move. Now all the pressure is on you. And to Blaine's point, bringing that up, I think if it's going to be anything of the 3 things we brought up, it would probably be that, because at the highest level of this sport, the egos are massive. I just, it better go good.
It's it
better go good.
About coaches, like from a control freak standpoint, they are all control freaks.
Which with Ryan Day makes sense. I mean, if they're burying this guy as a top 5 winningest coach in college football and you're on the hot seat every single Thanksgiving for the last 4 years because you can't beat Michigan, trust me, I understand how the paranoia sets in. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying this is one of the top defensive minds. There's a reason you went and got him from Oklahoma State. There's a reason your defense has been one of the top defenses in the country. I just wonder, you really think Jim Knowles would leave there? Like, did it get bad enough internally after a national championship?
If I could
you're going to uproot your family?
If I could be a fly on the wall, because the only reason you would make this move if it got bad.
And the only people who really know that are probably the players and the coaches, because they can feel it, and coaches talk to coaches. So I don't have any inside information that was it. But after the experience that I've had, I would not be shocked at all if that was a small, an under the radar type of catalyst to get him out of there. Because look, you didn't go to Utah. You didn't go to LSU. You went to Penn State. So you want to help knock them off the mountain. And like I said, the money, I think they could have matched. That's a really interesting situation to me.
All right, let's get the chat. $5 donation from JC. If Chip Kelly leaves as well, who are going to be their replacements?
They'll find somebody fantastic. I mean, again, it's Ohio State. I would love to be able to coach a roster like that. They can make you look pretty daggum smart at the end of the day. As far as on the defensive side, there's a couple candidates we always throw out, like, what would Travis Williams look like, this, that, or the other. I'd have to really look at the list, but somebody big's going to take that job.
All right, let's get the $5 donation from the coach. Appreciate it, man. He says, Blaine, how can you look at that play where both the players caught the ball, but it hit the ground as a catch? I'll never understand it. Well, I'll go back and look at it. I think that ball was a catch.
I agree with you.
I really do. The ball can touch the ground, but still be possessed at the same time.
Can't move.
Yeah, it can't move. It can touch the ground, but can't move. And if it's possessed, I think it was, and the tie goes to who? It goes to the receiver. And to be honest with you, that ball should have been picked.
Oh, it should.
That ball should have been picked 100 times out of 100 times, but you didn't.
But to me, I'm not as up in arms over that play because there was a defensive holding that was called before that. So it wasn't like it was going to be a turnover. If they'd have ruled it an interception, then all the Chiefs would have done was taken the penalty and got their 10 yards and kept moving on.
Let's go to a $5 donation from Ronald. Appreciate it, man. He says, guys, I still haven't gotten an explanation on how that wasn't a delay of game before the 2-minute warning. Can you please help me?
No, I can't.
No, I can't either.
I can't. We sat there in the live stream befuddled yesterday. Very rarely do I look at something and I don't have an answer other than that was either one of the most egregious, incompetent refereeing moments I've ever seen or something is up.
In the explanation of, the television clock and the on-field clock may not be married up exactly, that just doesn't hold water to me. Now, I will say that Patrick Mahomes clearly checked in first to see hey, am I good? And clearly he was told yes and then walked off the field. That's not what would have cost him the game. He would have just gone up there and just run a play before the quarter ended, or
sure.
They would have used a timeout. It's not, but the very fact that he was able to get that confirmation and then walk off the field while we saw before the 2-minute warning, 2:01, is pretty wild.
Yeah, the best version of what happened in that is that he asked and the referee screwed up and thought that it was going to end simultaneously. That's just the best version of the way I can look at it if I want to put it in rose-colored glasses, that the referee screwed up, and since he already told him that you didn't have to run a play, you can't penalize him then after that. But that was a screw-up. And as far as the play clock being as the same as the one that the refs have, those cannot be different. Those have to be the same. And it's not like you snapped the ball and, they say if you look up, but the ball snapped as it's going to 0, it's not delay a game. Okay, if that happened, I'd be fine with it. That's not what happened. You sat on the ball and went to the 2-minute warning. All right, one more, we got to move on.
All right, let's go to $5 donation from Lauren. Appreciate it, Lauren. Says, guys, I don't know how it is that the Chiefs and the Eagles playing in the Super Bowl is helping the NFL. Everybody hates both those teams except the people that live in those cities.
Yeah, you want to hate one of them and love the other.
But both of them are hated.
But for different reasons. People hate the Chiefs and Andy Reid because they're winning a lot. A lot of people just hate the Eagles because of it's like boy says on his nature walks, it's an aspen tree because of the way it is. I just think they just don't like Philadelphia's fans. Hey, appreciate you guys being here. If you do not mind, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and keep sharing the show.